Hi, first grade. Today we're going to do our read aloud. So, our story this week is I Don't Want to Be a Frog. Before we do that, we're going to look at our comprehension skill. So, in our PowerPoint, we talked about author's purpose, and we've talked about this before. Remember, the purpose is why do authors write? We've been doing different types of writing in Writer's Workshop, so we understand as an author that there's different reasons we might want to write something. The three we are talking about are to persuade, to inform, and to entertain. So if we look at our anchor chart, we see that as a reader, it's important for you to realize that how you read these different kinds of books depends on the author's purpose. So when we're reading stories, we have to think about why did the author write it? And then that helps us to understand the book a little bit better. Sometimes the authors will try to make you laugh or give you information or change your mind. So we want to read our story this week and think about the author's purpose. Today, we're going to focus on persuade. And you guys have been doing an awesome job in Writer's Workshop. So I know that you're used to understanding what it means to persuade. But let's remember that when a writer tries to persuade someone, it means they're trying to convince someone of something. So you can influence, convince, believe, entice, or sway. And those all mean that you're persuading. You're trying to make someone understand your point of view and get them to be on your side. So today's story is I Don't Want to Be a Frog. Before we read, I want you to think about why the frog might not want to be a frog. So can you turn and talk and think about why the character does not want to be a frog? Why do you think he might not want to be a frog? What are some reasons? Turn and talk to someone. Remember, you can pause it if you're still talking and I start talking. All right. The other thing I want you to do is I want you to think about if you were a frog. If you were a frog, why would it be good to be a frog? Why would you want to be a frog? What's fun about being a frog? But then I want you to think about a few reasons for why you would not want to be a frog. Like Miss Murphy would not want to be a frog because they're slimy and I don't like slimy things. So can you think of some reasons you would not want to be a frog? Okay, we're going to start reading our story. Remember, I'll stop and ask some questions. And if you need to pause, just click and pause the story. All right. The story's about a frog, but I see an awful lot of characters on here. I wonder what they're going to be from. I Don't Want to Be a Frog, written by Dev Petty, illustrated by Mike Bolt. I want to be a cat. You can't be a cat. Why not? Notice that we have a lot of dialogue in this story. So instead of the author writing words, he's creating dialogue between those characters, just like we talked about last week. Because you're a frog. I don't like being a frog. It's too wet. Well, you can't be a cat. I want to be a rabbit. You can't be a rabbit. Why not? Look, I can hop. Sure, but where are your long legs? Besides, what's wrong with being a frog? I don't like being a frog. It's too slimy. That may be, but you can't be a rabbit. I want to be a pig. You can't be a pig. Why not? Most of all, because you're a frog. But also because you don't have a curly tail or eat garbage. I can eat garbage. Everyone says that until they eat garbage. Sorry, you can't be a pig. I want to be an owl. Of course you want to be an owl. Being an owl is the greatest thing ever. Boy, would you love being an owl. So can I be an owl then? What do you think Dad's going to say? Can you predict? What do you think Dad's going to tell him about being an owl? No, of course not. Why not? 1, you don't have wings. 2, you don't look wise. 3, you can't turn your head all the way around. 4, you are a frog. What's wrong with being a frog anyways? Too much bug eating. I see. But still, no, being an owl for you. Why so glum? I don't want to be a frog. What do you want to be then? Not a frog. I want to be a cat, or a rabbit, or a pig, or an owl, something cute and warm. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. What do you think his secret is? I love eating cats. I love eating rabbits and pigs and owls too. And I am pretty hungry. I might just go gobble some up right now. That's terrible. It's who I am. But guess the one thing I never eat. What do you think he doesn't eat? I have a pretty good idea. Badgers? Nope. I eat badgers. Lots of badgers. Frogs? Bingo! Why don't you eat frogs? Because they are too wet and slimy and full of bugs. Oh, so it's good to be a frog? Yep. I guess you can't fight nature. We are what we are. You are a fierce hunter. And you are a wet, slimy, bug-eating, very lucky dog. Frog. Goodness gracious, Miss Murphy just read that wrong. You should just be happy you're not a fly. Why should he be happy he's not a fly? What's wrong with being a fly? And then we notice our animals again. And notice that those animals we saw are the ones he wanted to be. Okay. For your assignment today, we're going to think about the reasons he didn't want to be a frog. So you can always go back and re-listen. But if I were to flip through my book and think about why he didn't want to be a frog, I could brainstorm some ideas. Now, Miss Murphy didn't have a printer, so I made my own page. So you can always just draw your lily pad. I put my little frog down there. But we're going to think about reasons he didn't want to be a frog. So I might brainstorm and say that one of the reasons he didn't want to be a frog was the reason I didn't want to be a frog. And it's because they are slimy. So I'm going to write that on my page. I'm going to try and use sentences, though. I don't want to just write slimy because that's kind of not enough information for the reader, right? So I might say, they are too slimy. Period. Notice I started with my uppercase. I put my period at the end. And I still have room for a couple more reasons. So I want you to come up with a few more ideas. Could you use Miss Murphy's? Sure, it was one from the story, but I want you to come up with a couple more from the story that you realized. So go back and re-listen if you can't remember any of those reasons, okay? All right, I know you're going to do awesome work. I want to see your neatest handwriting. Remember when you do your sentences to do uppercase and punctuation at the end. And I will see you again soon to do another reload, okay? Bye, guys.